Okay, guys, let's have some fun. All right, let's talk about something that's very interesting. Um, so this Sunday I had heard a sermon, and the sermon was about the story of Bathsheba. Okay, so we all know David sinned, right? With Bathsheba, he looked upon her beauty, he wanted her, and he summoned her to him, and he got what he wanted. He was a king, right? So a lot of people are like, you hear this sermon and people, different commentaries have different comments. And I heard a sermon and I thought, wow, really? I thought, some people, not everybody, but some people thought she probably should have been more careful. And I thought, in what way? Why would somebody be thinking she should be more careful? That was almost like a rape, okay? This was a power play. It was a power play. She actually didn't really have much of a choice, from what I understand. He was the king. He had what? This was his eighth wife he was going to now have with Bathsheba. He wasn't content with the other seven. David was a man after God's own heart, no doubt, but he did fall into sin. And scripture says, all of you be careful, lest you think you can stand and you would fall. So we need to be careful that we don't think in a self-righteous way that we are better than David, and that would never happen, right? But is it Bathsheba's fault? Nothing. Not one little thing was her fault. I mean, even if she was flattered that he liked her, even if it says in commentary, even if she had been attracted to him, she did nothing wrong, and that was a definite power play. And I think when men are in power, many times they can use their authority and power and misuse it to get what they want. And not, I mean, it was more back in the day when I was growing up, men could do that. Now we have women who speak out and say, hey, your authority doesn't allow you to do this to me. So I think when we look at that, we need to be careful how we interpret Scripture. Scripture is silent about any fault of hers, but the real emphasis in Scripture is what David did. And so as we look at this, we see, as a Christian, I'm not your typical Christian. I'm not your Christian that fits in this little box. I have worked extremely hard in my Christian walk, with my own walk with God, and studying when I was raising my kids, studying quite hard to understand theology. And one of the things that I appreciate now is the fruit of all that hard work I did. And so as I look at this and I think about, people have said, this sin was very serious. It was very serious because he displeased God, not the sin, but he didn't make God happy. And the thing is, it's, I'm not saying, black and white, sin is a black and white thing, but I'm not saying that it's not serious, but how you look at things sometimes is really the problem more than the sin, the perspective that you use. So when we have a rich relationship with God, as I do, and you have a very strong walk with God, people will actually, I heard this in a Bible study saying, when you are